Hello everyone, we are Group C. Today we will give you a presentation on the content of Chapter 32 about a macroeconomic theory of the open economy. Firstly, I'm honored to introduce my group members. They are Qu Jiahao, Chen Jiamin, Chen Yiyun, and me, Lei Zixia. First of all, my part is a chapter summary. From the learning in the lecture, we could get the following. First, the function of the real interest rate and the real exchange rate. Second, the market for loanable funds and the market for foreign currency exchange. Third, the impact of policies and events on macroeconomic variables. I'm going to talk about the real interest rate and the real exchange rate. We should know the supply and demand for loanable funds depend on the real interest rate. And the interest rate is a key determinant of net capital outflow. However, the real exchange rate is the price that balances the supply and demand for foreign currency, and is also adjusted to balance the supply and demand for local currency. Then the market for loanable funds. There is an equation: saving is equal to domestic investment plus net capital outflow, and we can see the graph on the right side. So, at the equilibrium interest rate, the amount that people want to save exactly balances the desired quantity of domestic investment and net foreign investment. And a higher real interest rate will encourage people to save and raises the quantity of loanable funds supplied. So, the interest rate adjusts to bring the supply and demand for loanable funds into balance. And the market for foreign currency exchange. There is also equation: net capital outflow is equal to net exports. And from the right side graph, we can clearly see the demand curve for foreign currency is downward sloping, because a higher exchange rate makes domestic goods more expensive. But the supply curve is vertical because the quantity of dollars supplied for net capital outflow is unrelated to the real exchange rate. So at the equilibrium real exchange rate, the demand for local currency to buy net exports exactly balances the supply of local currency to be exchanged into foreign currency to buy assets abroad. Last but not least, the magnitude and variation in important macroeconomic variables depend on the following. First, government budget deficits. Second, trade policies. Third, political and economic stability. Okay, the first one, government budget deficits. It will reduce the supply of loanable funds, drive up the interest rate, crowd out domestic investment, and cause net foreign investment to fall. The second one, trade policies. It do not affect the trade balance, and trade policies have a great effect on microeconomic than on macroeconomic markets. The third one, political and economic stability. We should know capital flight has its largest impact on the country from which the capital is fleeing, but it also affects other countries. If political instability and capital flight, the interest rate will increase and the domestic currency will appreciate. That's all my part, and welcome my next group member.
Hello, my name is Hao. Today I will solve the question 2. Here is a question. Suppose that your government introduce an investment credit which subsidies domestic investment. How does this policy affect the national saving, domestic investment, net capital outflow, the interest rate, the exchange rate, and the trade balance? So the first things we should know what is investment credit. Investment credit is tax incentive that permit business to deduct a specified percentage of a certain investment cost from their tax liability, in addition to the normal allowance for depreciation. So this policy permit company or individuals to deduct a specified percentage of a certain investment cost from the amount of tax that they owe to the government. So that means the government policy to encourage domestic investment. As we can know, national saving equal to the domestic investment and net capital outflow. When this policy of investment tax credit encourage domestic investment, it will encourage borrowing more liable funds. As we can know, investment is one of the source demand for liable funds, so it will increase the demand for liable funds. So an increase in demand for liable funds puts an upward pressure on the rates of the interest. The finally will increase R to R1. So in there, a higher interest means more national saving because people prefer to saving their money to get a higher interest than consumption. And we can know higher real interest rates will choose the exchange rate to raise, right? So increase the real interest rate will reduce the net capital outflow. Those decrease the net capital outflow N2 N1. So when the net capital outflow decrease, it will reduce the supply of dollars in the market for foreign currency exchange. So reduced supply of dollars put an upward pressure on the real rate of the exchange. The E will raise to the E1, so we can get a reduced net capital output will reduce the net export and finally into the trade deficit.
Hello everyone, I'm Chen Jiaming. It's my great pleasure to speak to you today. My topic today is part A of problem 8, so let's take a look at it. Question: if the elastic of net capital outflow with respect to the real interest rate is very high, will this increase in private saving have a large or small effect on domestic investment? First, let's see some keywords. Number one is net capital outflow. Net capital outflow is foreign assets bought by local residents minus domestic assets bought by foreigners are used to link the two markets, the loanable funds market and the foreign exchange market. the key determinant of which is the real interest rate. Number 2 is private saving. I believe this has been mentioned in previous chapters. Private saving is households take out on rest after tax and customer spending. If we know the keywords, then we can look at the analysis of the answers. If net capital outflow are highly resilient to real interest rates, this increase in private saving has little impact on domestic investment. Increasing saving will increase the supply of loanable funds in the loanable funds market, and the increase in the supply of funds will reduce the real interest rate in the loanable funds market. The key determinant of the net outflow of capital is the real interest rate. If the net outflow of capital is highly elastic to the real interest rate, when the real interest rate declines, the net outflow of capital will increase substantially, and the large increase of foreign net investment will reduce domestic investment. So this increase in private saving has little impact on domestic investment. Thank you very much. That's all for now. Let's move on to our next member.
The B of question 8 is, if the elasticity of export with respect to the real exchange rate is very low, will this increase in private saving have a large or small effect on your real exchange rate? If the elasticity of export to the real exchange rate is extremely low, this increase in private saving would have a big impact on the real exchange rate. The increase in private saving lowered real interest rate. The fall in real interest rate increased net capital outflows. In the foreign exchange market, the net capital outflow is the source of dollar supply, and the increase of dollar supply will reduce the real exchange rate of dollar. If the elasticity of export to real exchange rate is very low, the demand curve of US dollars on the foreign exchange market will be very steep, and the increase of US dollar supply will lead to the substantial risk of real exchange rate on the foreign exchange market. So this increase in private saving has a big impact on the real exchange rate. And there are extra questions. Why are budget deficit and trade deficit sometimes called twin deficit?
Question 2. What is capital flight?